Welcome back, everyone. I kind of wanted to take a look again at some other stock analytic kind of software. And this time what I did was a trailing average of a specific stock that you can download the information from Yahoo Finance, which I actually did, and then I renamed it because it doesn't matter which stock it is, or ETF or mutual fund or whatever it is. So I just named it Fin for FinDog, and these are A shares. So this is just an example. I'm not endorsing or discrediting anything that these numbers have to relate to. So with running this, it is just stock analytics, and this is specifically trailing average. You give it in a file name in CSV format, and then you can tell it how many days of trailing average you want to give it. From some preliminary research I looked at, it looked like a lot of them do 10 days. So that's just what I start with. Press enter on that, and it'll pull up this graph. So in blue is the actual daily price. And then in green, which makes it look a little shifted because it is the trailing 10 days, then it shows a little bit of a smoother curve. Let's say I wanted to do the 100 days in trailing. Now obviously that means there's going to be no results for the first 100 days, and then it'll start giving me an average of the 100 days preceding that data point. So this would give it a very smooth, or almost a straight line, because it has a lot of data points that it's trying to average out. Versus if I did, say 2, could do 1 as well, then it's going to nearly mirror it. And let's try 1. Oops, that was 10 again. Right, so I don't have a program so you can do 0 because of the dividing. That maybe can be something that you guys can take on. So the file that you can pass it in, again, just has you download it straight from Yahoo Finance. You can go to their history tab for any stock, ETF, mutual fund, and you can just export in CSV format. It has a date column, the open, the high, the low, the close, the adjusted close, and the volume. Looking at the code, I say Python 3. Let's actually get rid of that because it is just Python that you can use. We're using the matplot libraries for the plotting of the points. We're using the system, CSV library, and date time. So if we start at the bottom here, if there are 3 arguments, then it will call this read file to get the XY actual prices, and then it'll create the graph. If not, so if it has more or less than 3, it'll tell you to have to actually have 2 parameters. There needs to be the CSV file, and then just a reminder from Yahoo Finance, and then the number of trailing days. So to read the file, we pass in the file name, which will be arg of 1, arg value 1, which is again the array of the parameters. The 0 is actually the name of the program. So we pass in a file name. We give it an empty array to begin with, or an array of 2 empty arrays. Then we open the file as a CSV file. We create a reader, which is going to be using the CSV library, making into a dictionary reader for the CSV file. So for each row in there, we will get the date and the close price. If we go back and look, we've got date and we've got close. Feel free to use any of the other ones. Those are just the ones I chose to use. And it's really that simple. Just give it whatever the column header name that you want to use. You can print it out if you want. I just commented that out. Then I return. So the X. Let's go back and take a look at this. So if we look down here, the X-axis will be all the dates. There's so many of them. There's like over 200 I have in this file. That it's all, there's just too many there to show. And then on the Y-axis is the price. Or the close price, yeah. Then we create the graph. And the create graph takes in the XY actual price. And then it takes in however many days we want to be trailing. Get the average trailing size of, which maps here. So if the XY actual price, it is an array of 2 arrays. The first index, 0 index, is all of the dates. And so we're going to turn them into readable dates for the plotter. So we know what format they're in. We're going to turn it into a date. And we're going to cycle through all of them. So AX has to do with the axis module. Not 100% sure what that does. I was that came kind of from some other code I was looking at. So you can take a look at that library into the GCA. It really has to do with the current axis instance, and so it helps with creating the graph. We've got the formatter, so we know what dates we want, the format of the dates. So we set that. We've got the locator, and again, some of this was just kind of copied from some other code that I was looking at. So I'm not 100% sure on the specifics, but this is all what helps, what allows us to be able to plot the points. So then we get here to the PLT, which again is that matplotlib library. And we pass in the X and the Y part of those arrays, the X array and the Y array. And then in order to get the rolling average, we need to get the X and Y coordinates of that. So we're going to call XY rolling average. We're going to pass in the actual price and the trailing size. And then we're going to plot the result we get back from that. Again, the first index will be the X values, the second will be the Y, and then we'll show it. Getting the rolling average, again, we're taking in the actual price and the trailing size, however many days we want to go backwards. We've got the temp X array that we have, again, an empty, or we have an array of 2 empty arrays. And as we cycle through, so we're going to cycle through the range of whatever the trailing size is up to the length of the actual array. However many closing prices we have, and that'll be the range. To get the date, that's pretty simple. We just grab the date from the XY actual price. And then this is where we do a little bit of the math. In order to get the Y value, we're going to get the average, and I have a function for that, of the actual price, the XY actual price 1. So we're going to pass in the price array, the index, which is going to be where we are, and how many days before to look at. And then we will return that. To get the average, we pass in the price array. We have the index and the trailing size. Sum we're going to set to 0. So for the range, of index minus the trailing size. So we're going to go back before the index and up to the index. Then we're going to add, we're going to do the add equals, which just adds to whatever we already have here. The float casting of the price array at the index of I. And then we will return the sum minus the trailing size. So if trailing size is 0, that's why it'll throw an error. So if we divide it by 0, that's why it will error out. So this is a little interesting application. I've also thought about doing another one where maybe you'll take a price, say here, and it'll take the 5 before and the 5 after, or the 3, however many you want to do. The reason I went with this to begin with is because this is something I guess the financial industry uses, and when you're at a current price, you can't look ahead because it hasn't happened yet. You can only look back. So that's why the trailing size or the trailing average is what people use at this point. Obviously, you can look at different ranges when it's in the past. So have some fun with this. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.